ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.
Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us again for next episode. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jess.
And so today we're going to continue talking about Netflix hit Nobody Wants This. I think today we're going to do like a deep dive and talk about the two main characters, Noah and Joanne.
Yeah, that works.
And so give me a brief overview of what you think of Joanne or give her a description, and then I want to kind of come in and tell you and fill in some nuance and things that
That you saw.
see.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'd say Joanne is funny. A little bit anxiety ridden, but like quirky kind of character. Very open, very honest, very comfortable with herself and her issues. She has a good friend group who I love their banter. They are all hilarious. She has a close relationship with her sister. Her family is important to her, but there are some interesting struggles with the family right now. Let's see. She is a goal-oriented person, has a nice career that she's working towards. Yeah. I guess.
I like her. I like her as a character. You know, I think she's interesting. I think she's funny. Sometimes I wonder, is she like hyper self-aware?
Mm-hmm.
Is what I ask myself, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like when she so there's a scene where she actually ends up meeting Noah, where she goes into the party and she has like on this huge fur coat.
Mm-hmm.
And during her conversation with Noah, he's like, oh, basically telling her that I know that you're insecure because you have this big coat on. And she's like, oh, you can see that? Like, she's like, yeah, I know that too. Normally, like someone is not that self-aware where they like have this issue and they're actively covering the issue. Normally it's like, I don't even realize that I'm doing it. But she's like, no, I know I'm insecure.
Mm-hmm. No, I think people can vary quite a bit with their self-awareness. So I think there's different levels of awareness, and I think you can be very aware of an issue, but that doesn't mean you've resolved it.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you think, like, so there's a part where her sister is talking about her in relationships and she's like, oh, you only want a man who doesn't want you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what do you mean? And so she's giving her all these,
Example.
explanations about how she like tends to run away. And like, do you think that is like very common nowadays? Like so many women it seems like in a post-Tinder environment that it's very hard for like people to find actual relationships. And a lot of times it seems like people don't match up with intentions. Like when I'm looking, and I say this as if I'm not someone who's married, but from what I've seen, people like who want to be in relationships don't often meet other people who want to be in relationships. It's like kind of like trains missing each other.
Okay. I agree that people like it's hard for those people to make connection. But can you tell me what's the question here?
So my question was about like her running away. But also like she wants to be in relationships, but she tends to like put herself into situations where the person is not available. And I'm saying, is that like a defense mechanism living in like a post-Tinder environment where it's really hard to find what you want because it seems like people are not honest about their intentions?
I think three things can be true at the same time, and I think the answer is both. I think she is emotionally unavailable, and that's part of what we see her work throughout this the season and trying to show up differently in her relationship with Noah. I want to call him Adam so bad, but in her relationship with Noah is that she's trying to work through her history of being kind of emotionally unavailable and be more available and be more open and honest about what her emotions are. But I do think it's clear that she has a long history of being emotionally unavailable. And some of the things that make me think that is, yes, the conversation that the sister has and all the ridiculous guys that she's gone out with or entertained or what have you. And the ones that she likes being the ones who don't like her, or don't, claim her. And then when she describes that guy who doesn't claim her, she kind of gives this look like, I remember him. Yeah, that was a good
Right.
one. So I was like, yeah, no, that was her. But there's something else that the mom said to make me think as to why when the mom is talking to Noah, because that's the character's name, when the mom is talking to Noah, she says like the girls have a really hard time basically dealing with their father being emotionally available because that's not what they're used to from him.
Mm-hmm.
So then it makes it, I'm paraphrasing, but she
Right.
basically says something to that sentiment. And I'm like, so, okay, that makes sense. They're not used to dealing with emotionally available men and may also be emotionally unavailable themselves because of some issues that they've had in their childhood.
Right.
So that makes perfect sense to me that she would be emotionally unavailable. And of course, if you are emotionally unavailable, then you choose to have also emotionally unavailable partners. So you ain't got to do all that.
That scene made me sad.
Did
It
it?
made me sad because basically the mom is like, oh, now because so in this movie, her parents were married for like 30 something years, and then her dad, was it 30
Was
something
it that
years?
long? Dang.
I don't think that they had been divorced that long.
I think they've been
They had
separated
been,
for like a year or two.
it hasn't, so they were married for the majority, I think, of the girls' lives.
Ooh, okay.
I believe. And then her father comes out of the closet, and him and the mom get divorced. The mom is still in love with the dad. The
Separated.
dad
They're
is
not
living.
divorced.
They're not divorced. They're only
They're
separated.
only separated.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
But I thought they celebrated the anniversary
Of
of
their
their divorce.
separation.
Oh, of their separation.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Okay, I missed that. So they were married for a very, very long time. The dad came out of the closet, and now he's moved on. He's dating, he has a boyfriend, and he's very like emotional, and he's very affectionate. And for the mom to say, they never saw that from him. And I'm like, I don't understand how like dealing with your sexuality caused you to withhold love from your children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the mom makes it seem like they were connected,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like now he's out of the closet. Now he's so affectionate and caring to his new partner,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like she's saying, oh, it's hard for the girls to see that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that made me sad because I'm like, I understand, like, the
Yeah.
struggles of hiding your sexuality. Not that I've experienced it, but I can empathize with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I don't understand why that would make you withhold your love from your children. So that scene made me, it
Mm-hmm.
made me sad. It didn't make me like dislike the dad because for
Yeah.
whatever reason, the dad, I find him to be
I do
hilarious.
too. I
I
do
find
too.
him to be so hilarious. So I love him as a character. I enjoy him as a character.
As
And I hope
yeah,
if there's a season 2, we see more of him.
agree.
But
Both
that
parents.
did make me sad.
Yeah. And the girls kind of corroborate that because like when they're talking about having the ick or getting the ick with Noah, every time, child.
Mm-hmm.
With one of the things the sister's like, she's like, no, who gave me the ick? And she says, Dad, with him
Mm-hmm.
saying I love you and stuff like that. So yeah, so then the mom is, right. Like what she's saying is accurate, I think. But to answer
Yeah.
your question, I think if you're dealing with like I don't know what his journey is yet because we haven't seen much as to how he got to where he got.
Mm-hmm.
But I can imagine with dealing with something or maybe not being able to be even honest with yourself about that would take up a lot of emotional time and space and energy, or trying to hide something, might take up a
Mm-hmm.
lot where it affects your whole your personality. And then when he finally comes out and he's able to just be his full self, he's able to be his full self in other areas of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And it is sad that it affects the children, but it also, he's really struggling with something internally that he may not, for whatever reason, sought help or sought, the channels to kind of figure out what was going on with himself for a very long time. And it's
Right.
interesting that he gets with a therapist.
It is interesting. It is interesting. I did you feel like the boyfriend was kind of overstepping his bounds a little bit when he was talking to the girls and they're like, "Hey, back up."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels too close too soon.
Right. I'm like, now knowing that they're not even divorced,
Mhm.
I'm not sure he should be bringing his partner around. And not that I don't think that it's not that the girls have an issue with him being gay, because that doesn't seem to be an issue at
Mm-mm.
all. It seems like like the mom says, they haven't worked through like the emotions in seeing what they basically did not receive, but he was capable of receiving. So I feel
Giving.
like they kind of needed to work through that before he starts bringing people around.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is the dad self-aware though? Do you think he's even and I know we've
No,
gotten like completely off topic. I don't even think the dad is
no.
self-aware of the situation.
Mm-mm.
I hope
I
they
don't.
explore that more in season two,
I do
because
too.
I think that it was such a small scene,
Hmm.
but it was like, I'm like, oh, there's a lot there. There's a lot there that they can like mine for content. It was good.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed that scene, but it did make me sad.
Hmm.
But like
What
going back,
what are we talking
we,
about?
we were talking about Joanne,
Okay.
and we got into her. We started talking about her parents, why she's like emotionally cut off.
Okay.
The funny thing is, like, for her, and I know before she met Noah, she said that she was going to move into like more healthy relationships. And then she kind of, when she met Noah, found out that his situation was a little messy and decided to pursue it anyway, which I don't have an issue with, because if you have a connection with someone, even if it seems like it could be messy, I think you owe it to yourself to see it through,
Hmm.
in a sense that just see, if
Hmm.
maybe you want to wade into the muck a little bit,
Hmm.
you know. But that, I think that goes into more of who I am as a person.
Because here's the thing, I have a different feel for the show versus real life. For the show, I'm glad they waded into it and got into it. If I knew her in real life in this like real situation, I'm like, it's been 48 hours. If you don't back up and wait till this boy really get over this woman or work through whatever he got to
Mhm.
work through with this woman, you know what I mean? Like in real life, that's how I would feel. For the purposes of the show and the conflict and drama of the show, I enjoyed it.
Right.
But like,
You know,
but do I think that that is in any way healthy? Absolutely not.
you know,
Just want to be clear
I
on
can't say anything about her doing things I have done in real life.
that. I know.
So,
You ain't even got to tell me. I know.
right, you were there.
I know. It's like, hey, this don't make no damn sense, but okay.
But also, I feel like when it came to Noah, like
Mhm,
she folded so fast,
mhm,
in the sense that she became like sucked in to him. Like she was open, and she
mhm.
was open to like the things that I don't want to say criticism, because I don't feel like he criticized
I
her,
don't either.
but when he saw things in her that he felt like weren't right, he would talk about it.
Mhm,
And she, like, her defenses were down.
mhm,
She's like, you know what, you're right. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Like, she really jumped in 2 feet. Now, I will say that the things that I had an issue with when it came to Joanne is how quickly she started putting her career on the back burner when
Yes.
it came to Noah.
Mhm.
That now that,
Mm-mm.
and I'm a romantic girl.
You are. That's
I'm a
funny.
girl
You
that
don't like
loves
rom
love.
coms, but you are more
I
the
don't.
romantic than I am.
I am. In real life, I'm a romance, like I love like love. Like that's me. I'm a lover girl in real
Mhm.
life. But one thing
I am
I
not.
don't play about is my career. Like I'm like, girl, what are you doing?
No, I completely felt so. Like, there's a scene where they're going away for a weekend, and then and Noah's career has already interrupted the weekend and changed where they're going. Okay,
Hmm.
because she ends up going to the camp with him so that he can run the service or what have you, because his boss canceled. And then something comes up in her career. She has this huge opportunity, and she decides to go on the weekend anyway. And I'm like, girl, no. Absolutely not.
No,
Meet with
ma'am.
the, I think it's the Spotify execs.
Right.
You meet with the Spotify execs.
Not
This
only
man gonna
that,
be here. He ain't going nowhere.
there's a series of events, and she ends up at the meeting anyway,
Hmm.
even though she initially was going to leave it to her sister. But one, she ends up at the meeting anyway, and Noah shows up to the meeting.
That
That
pissed me off.
irritated me.
That pissed me off. Like, and there's not like I overall I like Noah's character. Overall, there's issues, of course.
Yes, we're gonna talk about him next.
Um, But overall, I like his character. I do not like the way, because I feel like, I think why I'm reacting so strongly to this is because I feel like men do this in real life and it pissed me off. You do not get to interrupt a woman's career for whatever your romantic foolishness is. She is at a business meeting. At this point, this is a huge possibility for her podcast, and you want to insert yourself because you messed up. No, sir, you can make this up tomorrow. Be uncomfortable tonight.
Can I tell you what that scene reminds me of?
What?
Do you remember like when Offset broke up with when Cardi B broke up with Offset and she was at a concert and he came on stage with like all of these like flowers and she's like, I'm literally performing.
I had no clue that happened.
Oh, okay.
Some stuff I ain't got the energy for.
But it's like the same thing. Like I'm
But it
doing
is the same
something.
thing.
I'm doing something important. Like you can like do that later.
Do
Like
that
that
because you are not the most important thing in this moment. You know what I mean? Not that you're not
right.
important to them, but like I don't like that because I feel like men do that and ruin women's big moments, and you also interfere with their career. And again, the casual comfortableness with you walking in and out of the spaces of her job bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could say that because she did go in the synagogue, but that's a little different. That's open to the public. But it bothers me. And the funny thing
But
is,
he also invited her to go to the
oh, he did.
synagogue.
Okay, so then that's different.
He,
I didn't
no,
know.
no, no. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. He did not invite her. He asked Ashley, one of her friends, about her.
And then she
I
invited
think he had
herself.
told her that he was preaching
Yeah.
at the synagogue. So
But
no, I'm
she wasn't
wrong.
invited. But again, but she came in, she sat in the back or what have you,
Yep.
and had she not been in bright red, it would have been a
That
lot less disruptive.
red dress was very synagogue sexy. Like it was too sexy for the synagogue. It wasn't inappropriate.
It wasn't, but
But
it's just too sexy for synagogue.
it was very sexy for the synagogue and bright red.
Mm-hmm.
And like the fact that they kept talking about her being blonde, I'm like, I know there's probably a ton of blonde Jewish women in there. Y'all
The
just know
female
them.
rabbi is blonde.
Yes, she is. She is. But so when he came to that meeting, I was so irritated.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was also irritated when she left the meeting to go and talk to her about her relationship with him.
Right. And then the execs are watching y'all have the bread and toast and how unprofessional. Absolutely not.
I was like, come on now. If you are a podcaster, like, and her sister have been, like, they've had this podcast for, like, it sounds like quite a while.
Yeah.
They've invested a lot of time and energy in it. And, like, this is, like, for them to take the next level. And it's a big step up. And according to Joanne herself, like this deal with Spotify can open, the doors for them to do movies or books or live shows, different things like this is not a small thing that they're doing. This is a big thing. This is not her going to like a VidCon or something like that, like one of those like conferences or something. Like this is a meeting with execs who can like take your podcast to a like multi-million-dollar level. We can talk about our argument later.
Right.
I
was
so irritated by that.
I was irritated. You know what? It reminds me. Okay, so the last show that we talked about was Kevin can F himself. And we talked about that, about like that trope of a man walking up on doing something to disrupt your job. And I'm like, dang, even here, I'm like, I told you that was one of the most believable tropes because I'm like, I feel like I see that all the time, but I also feel like I see men do that in real life. And it's just like the way that they just don't respect what you do, no matter what you do.
Right.
Like, because it's the woman's job, it's not as serious. You know what I mean? Because like if the situations had been reversed and she had messed up and then she walks up to you in the middle of your sermon, I don't know if it's called a sermon, but you know what I mean? Whatever your speech at the synagogue, you would understand how inappropriate that was.
Right. Yeah. So that irritated me. And I'm just like, because it's like, one characterization of her is that she's a girl boss. So much so that her sister is trying to keep up with her, and people almost treat her sister as a second class
Yeah.
citizen in, even though they're a team, their podcast is a team,
Mhm.
but people have anointed Joanne as the leader. The
Mhm.
Spotify people, Ashley, who's like their publicist, everybody in general
Treats her.
sees Joanne as the leader of the duo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so knowing that not only are you the leader of the duo, knowing that your podcast is on the verge of stepping up, and also she's trying to maintain control to make sure that as her podcast steps up to the next level,
Mhm.
she doesn't lose so much creative control that it's not something that doesn't represent her anymore.
Mhm.
Like these are serious stakes here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like, it's not that like your romantic relationship is not important,
Mhm.
but everything has a time and place.
Exactly. And you could have did that later. You could have did that tomorrow. You would have
Right.
been okay.
Yeah. So I was that part did not make it to me. That did not match up with her character. That's why I said she folded when it came to
Mhm.
Noah. She really folded.
Yeah.
She's like, whatever. Like he is everything.
I agree because like so much like this is something I was kind of struggling with because the sister alludes to her at some point in the show changing too much for him. You know what I mean? And I kept going back and forth.
Mhm.
I kept going back and forth with whether or not I agreed with the sister or not because I'm like, yeah, in some ways, I'm like, in some ways, I feel like she's intentionally trying to change for the better. Like I said, she's trying to be more open. She's trying to talk through issues instead of just reacting how she normally would react. And I think that change is about her. But then there's other things like pretending that she likes basketball and wearing that ugly behind dress that she put on initially for the meeting for the dinner with her with his brother and sister-in-law. I'm like,
Mhm.
that feels like, well, okay, we're starting to morph into what you think is good for him.
Right. No, I definitely agree. But to me, it did not fit who she initially was.
Hmm.
I'm like, when she met him, that's like, she just completely was like, oh no, I have to do whatever. I have to contort myself
Hmm.
in every way to fit him. And it's not that she becomes a complete, like, she doesn't become like a complete walkover. Like, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't. And I think
But
she
I
pulls
just
herself
was
back too.
surprised.
Hmm.
I was surprised
Yeah.
at how, like, willing she was to not necessarily shrink herself, but to change like so much about her life and personality
Hmm.
to make him comfortable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so going back to episode 1 where we talked about how this show is like based on something that happened in real life, but it's more, well, inspired by.
Inspired by,
I
yeah.
think is a better way to say it.
Hmm.
Inspired by, a real love story. When I look at Noah and how he's painted, once again, I kind of feel like he's painted with a very kind brush.
Hmm.
When I look at him, I see some things that I don't understand, and some things that I don't like.
Hmm.
But I feel like overall, his character is kind of airbrushed in the movie overall, where he seems to have gotten like even a better edit than Joanne.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I'm like, he is very much portrayed as a good, sweet, kind-hearted guy that loves everyone and wants the best for everyone, and any mistakes that he makes, it's because he's trying to help someone or save someone's feelings, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I feel like his character is portrayed.
Hmm.
But me, I'm looking, I'm like, I see some problems
I
here.
see some problems too. I just feel like
I
I
see
see
some
problems that other
problems.
people wouldn't see as problems. But yeah, there's
Hmm.
some issues there.
So I'm going to start with the things that I don't understand.
Hmm.
So once again, we're talking about a culture in a community that I'm not familiar with and that I'm not a part of. So my question is, like, when he's at the party
Hmm.
and he's smoking marijuana, right? At the table, like they're passing it around.
Oh, like with her friend at the beginning? Like where they
Yeah,
meet?
like when the night that they first meet, and she looks at the other guy because she thinks the
The other
other
guy
guy
is the
is the
rabbi.
rabbi.
Hmm.
When she turns back, he has a joint in his hand. As a
Um,
matter of fact, he passes the joint to Joanne, which is Kristen Bell's character, and
mhm.
I'm pretty sure that Kristen Bell's character does not even partake of the joint. At least they didn't show it, but he definitely. And the first time I watched
I
it,
don't
I
think I
thought
read.
it
I
was a
didn't realize that was a.
cigarette.
Yeah, I thought it was a cigarette. I didn't
But when
realize
I
that was a
watched it
joint.
again, I'm like, why would they be passing a cigarette around a table? I don't.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure it was a joint.
Okay, then
Which,
I missed that. And then so
which
yeah, if
I'm
they're
just
passing
like,
it, yeah, you don't pass cigarettes. That's weird. Um, but yeah, it was a joint.
that kind of threw me off, and I'm just like, and maybe I could have looked this up, but I'm just like, what are the rules
For we definitely
for rabbis? They don't
um,
have a different set of,
they
like
don't have a different set
in
of rules than other people.
in
He
theory,
he says they're just regular people. No, because like when she asked him, can he have sex, and he's like, we're just regular people. You know what I mean? So maybe the rules aren't that different for them. I don't know,
I
but
don't know.
he also made a comment that said, yeah, I know that I play up the Torah bad boy image, but I'm all in on this. So again, him playing with that, like, I'm bending the rules or whatever, but as a way to be more likable to other people or be more interesting to other people, does fit his character to me.
Mm,
Because he says, like, when he says that, when he calls her out about being vulnerable, he basically alludes to him being also vulnerable and also insecure and liking attention, but not really wanting to admit to how much he likes attention. So then,
hmm.
like, this being this little, yeah, well, I'm Jewish, I'm a rabbi, but I'm also a little bit of a bad boy kind of thing as a way to get women's attention makes perfect sense to me.
And like how he drops notes to make it seem like he's basically always been like a popular guy.
Hmm.
Like even when he talks about how much sex he used to have in high school,
Hmm.
and I'm just like,
And then the fact that he brings her to the
interesting.
camp because he wants her. He already knows that they call him Hot Rabbi. He already
Right.
knows that the teenagers call him Hot Rabbi, and he wants her to overhear it. But then when she finally does it, she brings up. He's like, "Oh, they told you? Oh, oh my God,
Right.
I'm so embarrassed." And yeah, you do it. You wanted her to know that they call you Hot Rabbi.
Yeah. But I don't like I said, I don't know what the rules
I
are.
don't know either, but
But
like, I don't
like
know.
the sex, especially like sex with someone you have not known
Right
that long.
before marriage, is that a yeah?
Right. I don't like I know that there are like more orthodox
Hmm.
like sects of Judaism where I know that's a no-no.
Hmm.
But he's obviously like more modern, and that's once again where I'm saying I don't know. I can't judge him for what he's doing
Hmm.
because I don't know enough to know what the rules are.
Hmm.
But it was shocking when I'm watching it. I'm like,
Yeah.
when he said he was the rabbi, I feel like I had the same face that Kristen Bell had, like that Joanne had, because I'm like, wait a minute, he's doing drugs. How are you the rabbi? So I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't understand what the rules are. It seems like the only like he's doing a lot of things that I would not necessarily associate with a religious leader, but it seems to be the only thing that anybody has a problem with is the fact that this woman he has a relationship with is not Jewish.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
no one says anything else about what I feel like are kind of like highly suspect things that he's doing,
Mhm.
including when he was previously like, in a relationship with Rebecca and they were living together.
They
And
live
they were not
together.
I thought that they were living together.
I don't think I realized that.
I felt like the way that it was phrased, it seemed like they were living because she was like, "Oh, I was looking through something and I found like this box and like it was locked." And they had been together for 3 years. And I don't know, it
I
gave
didn't think
me
they were
like
living together because, like, even if you've been
maybe
together for
I'm
3 years
reading
with
too
somebody,
much.
you're still gonna have some of their stuff at your house, and that's what
Mhm.
that's what my mind went. If they were living
Maybe
together,
they
I
weren't
missed
living
it.
together,
But
but the way that she was, I thought that they were living together. They
yeah, I didn't.
when during that scene, but maybe I was reading
Mhm.
into more than it should. But I'm just like, man, what are the? So my first thought were, I have no idea
What the rules are?
what the rules are if you are a rabbi. Other than I bet he doesn't eat pork.
Like
Like
the boy thing I know is serious. If I don't know nothing else,
I know he's not eating pork. He's smoking marijuana right now, but I bet he does not eat pork. And so he's interesting to me because overall, I think, like I said, I think he's getting like the good guy at it.
hmm
But I think in a lot of ways, he's incredibly selfish because
mm
he, from the time that he knew he was attracted to Joanne, he also knew and verified with Ashley that she was
Not
not Jewish.
Jewish. Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't as important to you as you said it was,
Mm-hmm.
why would you even pursue that relationship? And then in the course of the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
keep bringing it up and keep, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like using it
that's true.
and wielding it almost, I don't know, saying wielding it as a weapon sounds stronger than I think that I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
you keep making it a wedge. It keeps ending up being a wedge between
Mm-hmm.
you and Joanne. And you knew from the beginning that it was going to be an issue. So I feel like before he ever dated Joanne, he should have made peace with it and said, "Listen, I know that she's not Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
That cannot be an issue if I'm going to pursue it with her." I think that's what would have been fair.
Mm-hmm. That might have been what was fair, but then that puts him having to choose his career. He also knew he's not getting head rabbi if he's married to a Gentile, you know? And so,
Why are you with her then?
because that's
Because
what,
once again, Joanne, she found out he was a rabbi,
mm-hmm.
doesn't really understand what that is, because not only is she not Jewish, she's not religious at all.
That's, yeah.
So she honestly has a very,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say probably like a very caricature. Oh, I'm not saying that word
Girl,
right.
caricature.
Thank you. Idea of what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like she's like, she doesn't really know what that means. She doesn't know what the levels are, what the systems are. She doesn't know what his aspirations are because he waits. He knows for a long time that he wants to. By the time he met Joanne, he already knew he wanted to become a head rabbi.
Yeah, he's been working in
You
that,
know what I mean?
working towards
And
that for a long
so,
time. Yeah.
and then as it became more and more real, he was not sharing it with her.
Mm.
He takes her to that camp, but he tries to hide her.
Why did
Like
you take her
I
there for the
don't know.
weekend?
That's what I'm saying. As much as I like him, he does stuff that pisses me off
Hmm.
on a deep
So
level.
here's the thing: he did get the nice guy edit, but my issue is the nice guy trope is the what was problematic.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like he absolutely got the nice guy edit, but like the problem with the whole nice guy is like I think they like nice and passive are conflated.
Hmm.
Like so he kind of allows things to happen to him. You know, he sees the problems, but he's not actively trying to deal with the problems, or what have you. He's allowing himself to be told what to do quite a bit by either his parents or what have you, or society or whatever, but he's not actively making any decisions. He's kind of like passively kind of trying to guide her toward Judaism.
Do you know
Um,
what the most perfect example of what you just
mhm,
said about him? His relationship with Rebecca, which is another thing that makes me extremely angry.
mhm,
Because in this show, Rebecca is painted as like this like kind of crazy girl. Now, I will admit that scene where we find out that she broke into his locked box, found an engagement ring, and then waited, and because he didn't propose after several months, just started wearing it and told his mom and everything. That is crazy.
mhm,
I will admit that that is crazy, but when I look at that situation, I go, maybe an unreliable narrator is involved.
mhm,
I'm always every like
mhm,
maybe that was sensationalized a little bit. But what I do know for sure, because Noah said this out of his mouth, is that he was in a relationship with her for 3 years
mhm,
and he really did not love her the way that he knew he needed to,
mhm.
and that he just let that relationship go. He wasted her time.
For 3 years.
He bought a ring,
Hmm.
right? Why would you even buy a ring?
And leave it.
And yes, she shouldn't have even known about it. But once she found it, like, and confronted him with it, and like now, like his back is up against the wall,
Hmm.
that's when you decide to break up with her. Because like, if I don't break up with her, I have to like marry her, and I don't want to marry her. You knew before then you did not want to marry that
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
When you bought that ring and did not use it,
Yeah.
You knew
But you didn't want to
you
marry
did
her.
not want to marry her because
Hmm.
guess what? You could have guys could have had a long engagement if
Hmm.
you really wanted to be engaged with her. The fact that he wasted her time and
Hmm.
everyone talk when other people talk about Rebecca,
Mm,
they speak so highly
they
of her,
do.
which is why I go back to the
They do.
unreliable narrator feelings that I have when it comes to like Rebecca. Everybody talks about Rebecca is beautiful, Rebecca is intelligent, Rebecca's so sweet and nice. Oh, she won't have any problems finding somebody else because she's so amazing.
Hmm.
Like everybody talks about how wonderful
They do.
she is. And the fact that Noah spent 3 years wasting her time when
Hmm.
she could have found someone to really appreciate her for who she was, I get angry.
No, no, no. He absolutely wasted her time. Rebecca looks good on paper, and she fits perfectly into the world and the life that he has crafted him for himself. But he did not actually really want her. He did not actually really love her in the way that he needed to love her, and she didn't give him the feelings that he was expected to feel. And from whatever point he recognized that, he should have ended that relationship instead of wasting her time.
I agree. Not only did he leave her and he was able to move on because he knew he did not care for her, but she really loved him and really thought that they had a future together.
Hmm.
And now immediately you're dating someone else, bringing them to all of the places where I congregate because we're in community together. So you're bringing this girl is showing up at our mosque. You know, she's around like the
Synagogue.
family. No, I said mosque. I'm sorry, synagogue.
Hmm.
It was a holy house of worship.
Hmm.
She's at the synagogue. She's around the
Hmm.
family. So I maybe this is just me, but it felt like he was throwing like Joanne in her face a little bit because like this woman is still
Hmm.
heartbroken and devastated. She thought she was
Hmm.
getting married. Once again, yes, I will recognize the fact that she proposed to herself as crazy. But
And
even
talk to his mom about it. That's yeah.
all of that was insane. But let's
Hmm.
pretend as if that did not happen. We're going to just
Hmm.
pluck that up and put that to the side. She was in love with someone, had a 3-year relationship, and he was giving her every indication that they would have a future together. And then he
Hmm.
broke up with her, and all of a sudden, he's got this girl that he's showing up with
2 days
everywhere.
later.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? She's at the
Yeah.
camp. You know what I mean? She's at the
Yeah.
synagogue. She's
Feels
at the
like you flaunting
family
her.
house.
And I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just him being insensitive, but absolutely that's how it would be perceived on the other end. Like you're just throwing this girl in my face. And for all intents and purposes, she didn't really do anything wrong. Rebecca didn't really do anything wrong. She just wasn't the right girl for you, and you could not admit that to yourself.
Right, but you played with this girl for 3 years.
Hmm.
And
So yeah.
now I feel this is what irritates me. If
Hmm.
Joanne would say yes, he would propose to her tomorrow.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
which like lets me know that you knew you did not want Rebecca and you played with her for 3 years. You are not a good person. Like
Hmm.
you're not the worst person, but
No.
like I feel like he got too. That's why I said I feel like he got a good guy at it because with
Hmm.
Esther, who has the foulest mouth, I feel like should have been going toe to toe with Noah for how he treated Rebecca. When she
Hmm.
talks about Rebecca, she only talks about, oh, Rebecca's my best friend, you guys should be together, making it seem like they should only really be together because she's Jewish. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like people really, really called Noah to the carpet for how he treated Rebecca.
Hmm. Well, but I would say one of the few people who took it to him was Esther, though.
She
First
did,
of
but
all,
she
not too
didn't
much on
have.
my girl.
I know. It's not that
No, I'm
she didn't
joking.
say anything, but I feel like she could have had a better argument and shown
Hmm.
him where he was a bad person, not
Hmm.
just because
Is that her
he's
job?
like, "It- that's your best friend. Yes, that's your job.
No, no, no. Is that your job to show him where he's a bad person? That's your brother's job. That's your, you know what I mean? Your father's job. That's your.
Hmm.
I feel like she did stand up for her best friend.
She did,
She
but
can't make him a better person.
she can't. And because here's the thing, I don't want Noah and Rebecca together because
No,
Noah's
she
not good
deserves
enough.
better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rebecca
Noah,
deserves better.
she does
Absolutely.
absolutely. But I think I just want someone in show to say to
Hmm.
Noah at this point. I don't care who it is. I feel like only
Yeah, I don't think
Esther
that
is
that's Esther's
strong enough
place.
to say it. I don't
Right.
care who says it. Someone needs to
Yeah.
say you played with that girl's feelings for
Hmm.
3 years, and then when you guys broke up, you tried to make it seem like she was crazy.
And that should have been his daddy.
His dad is so excited that he's dating a blonde girl. Like,
I don't
I'm,
think his dad is like particularly excited about it. He just don't care. I don't think his daddy cares.
I
And that, you know what I
don't know.
mean? His dad is kind of passive too.
I
All
just, I
the
feel
men
like
in that family are very passive.
I don't know. I just felt like his dad was like kind of like excited about it. Maybe I need to look at it
I didn't get
again.
excitement. I got like he was like I ain't got to live with her. You got to live with whichever one of them you take home. I don't know. I got to live with your mama, and that's
Hmm.
what I'm concerned about.
Right. So yeah, I as much as I think that Noah is a good person, I don't think he's a horrible person.
No.
He's not, but I really feel like no one is holding him accountable for
Hmm.
how he treated Rebecca. And those issues come up if you look at how he treats Joanne, in the sense that
Hmm.
he makes his career more important than hers. He plays
Oh,
around with her, a lot. He like
that's
that
true.
kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not
Hmm.
it bleeds through. Joanne
Hmm.
is just so in love that she's not really seeing those issues as issues.
That's true. No,
But
completely.
he
And I think part of the problem was that is that she sees him as a better person than she sees herself.
Yes. Oh, you are right about that.
Hmm.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Like, you know me. I'm a Kristen Bell fan. So
I
when
know.
she was in The Good Place, you know how she used to refer to herself as an Arizona trash bag?
Yes.
Like there's a little bit of that. Not as bad, but there's a little bit of that
Hmm.
in this
Yeah.
show
And I'm like,
where she knows that she's great, but she has Noah on a pedestal.
she
Maybe
does.
because he is a rabbi, and there's like
And I
once
think so. I
again,
think it is.
like
She's like
she.
he's this holy man, and
Hmm.
I think part of it is that he's a rabbi. She puts him a bit of on a pedestal, and I do think that she talks like it's like there's a difference between there's growth that needs to happen with her. You know,
Hmm.
there's issues that she needs to overcome, that she needs to work through, but she's not a bad person, and she's really struggling with whether or not she's a good or bad person. And
Right.
she sees him as a good person. And to like some, I think to your point earlier about like, you know, there's issues with him. There's things that he needs to work through that he never works through.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? The fact that you are, yeah, you're super passive in this relationship with Rebecca, and you just allow it to happen, even though I think you were well aware a long time prior that this wasn't a good fit for you, or for whatever reason, even though, or rather, she seems like a good fit in every way, but you're just not feeling it.
Right.
You know,
So,
and you should have stepped up and said, okay, even though everybody's gonna be mad at me, oh, that's the part of it. He does not like people being mad at him or
no,
thinking badly about him.
no, he doesn't. He
He
doesn't.
doesn't.
So,
And that's what he can't confront. That he knows that there's going to be backlash from the community with lead, and there was backlash from the community. Yeah, it didn't go in depth enough as to what the issue is, but like he doesn't want the backlash, and that's why he doesn't break up with her until he's kind of forced to. Um, he needs to stand up to his parents a bit.
hmm.
You know, he needs to set some boundaries that he does not set.
Right.
Um,
And I agree because one thing I feel like Joanne has healthy boundaries with her parents.
she does.
She really does. Like you can tell that her and her sister have a good relationship with their mom, but their
Mhm.
mom is prone to shenanigans, and they keep her in a just close enough. They don't let her pull them in too
Mhm.
deeply into their shenanigans, but they
Sorry,
don't
shenanigans.
mistreat her. I feel like they're very compassionate and understand where their mom is emotionally. You know
I
what I
think they could be a
mean?
little bit more compassionate with her, honestly.
I don't know because the
I think
mom
so.
she needs someone to keep her anchored because the mom is she's out there.
Hmm.
I think and as someone who tough has to tough love her mother, you know what I mean? It's like you want to be syrupy and sweet,
Hmm.
but you can't because they need to be parented, even though they are the parent. And so
Hmm.
like their gentle parenting, I feel like their mom, because they know she's like not in a great place emotionally, and she acts out. She said, oh, she's doing ayahuasca with her Lyft driver. The mom is full of shenanigans.
She is, but she also like you could just see like in that scene with her and Noah, and you could I just feel like you could see the hurt on her face because at that I don't think I realized how long her and the dad were together.
Hmm.
So this person has been your partner. You are in love with this person.
Mm-hmm.
For 30, you've given them, I guess, 30 years of your life or what have you, but a large chunk of your life to realize one that they are not and possibly were never in love with you, and then to lose them, like, but still have to interact with them.
She's
Like I
Rebecca.
feel like I saw the hurt on her face, and so I think, wow, yes, sometimes you have to put her shenanigans in check, because if they shenan once, they're gonna shenan again.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you could still, there's times where she needs caring and she needs someone just to be there with her and help, and she needs that. And whether you lead her to an actual therapist instead of all these weird things that she keep going to, or
Mm-hmm.
you could just I don't think it's good for you to have to listen to the like the issues between your parents, even if you're an adult, like the details of it. But I just like, dang, I just want somebody to sit there and hold her. That's
Mm-hmm.
it, and just let this woman get cry and get this out.
I
So I
mean,
just think,
she's Rebecca.
hmm,
She's literally Rebecca. Just
hmm,
she's older. You know what I
that's
mean?
it.
But she's what,
And
if they would have gotten married,
hmm,
that's what Rebecca would have turned into. Being,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. So I just think there's room for a little bit more compassion for their mom. But I know it's hard with your parents. It's hard to see them as fully human.
It is.
Um,
It and as your parents age, that role reversal is
girl,
also hard to navigate.
hmm,
It's hard
it
to
is.
navigate. So they probably can give her more compassion. I probably have compassion on them because I know how
Hmm,
that feels, you
yeah.
know.
I mean, raising boomers is not for the weak.
It's not. It's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not. But
Yeah.
overall, I know that I'm very, very critical of Noah. And I think that I'm so critical of Noah because I feel like the show is not critical of Noah. But
Hmm.
I like him. I liked
I do
watching
too.
their relationship
Overall.
develop. But here's my last criticism. Even though the ending, chef's kiss, I love the way the season ended with him running to her and, basically
Hmm.
saying, I choose you. In season two, there's got to be some regret there because
Hmm.
you can't have spent your life with this dream and worked towards this thing and you have achieved it, you've gotten it, and now you're going to give it up for someone that you
Hmm.
literally just met.
That's what I feel differently about the ending. That's why it's kind of anticlimactic for me, because I feel like it's like, yeah, no, I don't, and I don't necessarily think the answer is him, and I know he's not really going to, but I don't think the answer is really him leaving his, either potentially because they don't say what that's going to look like. I don't think the answer is him leaving potentially his either his religion or his, maybe not the religion but his career path within that religion. I don't think that that's the answer in order to choose her. So I
Right.
was like, the end was like kind of like,
I like the ending because I'm like, oh yeah, let's end on a sweet romantic note because if there's
because
a
we,
season two, oh, we're
yeah,
about to go through it. Like things are
oh
going to
yeah,
get rough and choppy. So I liked the ending because I'm like, yes,
hmm,
give me something sweet because if next season goes the way it should, things should be getting really, really bitter and really, really choppy. Like if it would have ended on a low note,
hmm,
I think that would have taken like some of the air out of season two.
yeah. I don't think that it should have ended on a low note. I agree, it should have ended on a high note, because yeah, you got to, you kind of end on the opposite of where you started. But I just was like, man, this man ain't leaving. I was like,
I
this, I was
oh
like,
no, like here's the
whatever.
thing. I agree. I know that that is a snap decision. That is an emotional snap decision
Right.
that's not going to last.
You gonna
But
still be
it
a
was
rabbi tomorrow.
beautiful. It was like
Hmm.
it gave me all of the feels. I really loved it, and immediately when I'm like, oh, I know season two is going to be crazy because
Hmm.
if he is literally a human being, he will start to regret that decision, and he's not going to know how to tell her. She's going to feel guilt about him giving
Oh
up
yeah.
his career. It's going to be so much conflict. There's a
Hmm.
lot of conflict that can be mined.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
was
that's true.
excited.
That's
I
true.
thought it was a
So it
great
sets up a good.
setup.
Okay, I see that. Sets up a lot of options to go in the second season. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
I
I
enjoyed
could
it.
take that. I could deal with that. I was just like, whatever, dude. You- don't nobody believe you for real.
Right. If you are like, I think like we got like a little strong cynicism, and also we are TV. watchers, and we're
Hmm.
watching it from a different perspective than the average person. So yeah, you
Yes.
and I both immediately clock like decision was irrational
It's not
and
gonna
is
happen.
not going to last.
Right. And I'm like, and we know what decision is going to happen. I kind of hate that some like watching some other critiques have ruined it for me about because of what happened in real life. And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
I knew that she was what decision she is eventually going to make, but I
Right.
still I just want to see the journey. I think the last thing about her, and because okay, we know where it's going because in real life the Aaron Foster converts to Judaism
Mhm.
and marries her husband Simon, and so that's where the show is going. Eventually, she's going to convert. I really hope though we see the process as her not just about Noah. I just don't want her conversion to be completely about Noah.
The
I want it to be about her kind of falling in love with and getting to know and seeing her growth and understanding of Judaism and it being almost like a like you know what I mean, like
yeah.
we get a love story with her in Judaism.
And here's the funny thing. I felt like they were dropping
They
those
were,
seeds, and then all of
yeah,
a sudden, like it just like
they were.
rammed into, oh no, she's got to convert. We got to have a decision now. Cause I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm watching her, like you said, fall in love with Judaism, discover these beautiful things, and like
Hmm.
see the importance and connection
Hmm.
outside of
Outside,
Noah.
it just cannot just be about for him.
I'm
It
like,
just can't for
oh,
me. It
and
can't. And it did because a few things that she learned about Judaism in this process, you could see her eyes light up and you could see
mhm,
her like, because she's like, I just, never connected with any of them. And I was like,
right,
oh, there's such a potential there for her to really connect with this and to
yes,
be a convert in the truest sense.
yes.
Not just like, so y'all leave us alone about this marriage.
Yes,
But
I agree because like I said, I was getting excited as I
mhm,
started seeing those things and seeing her have this moment. Like I'm
yeah,
like, oh, like this could be very beautiful. And then
it
it they
could.
they really started shifting away and making it
Hmm.
like a Noah centered, and I that made me feel very
Hmm.
icky. It
But
did.
that's also an opportunity for growth. You know what I mean? Like if
Yes.
somebody even calling her out about that and her thinking about it a different way, that could be another plot point. You know what I mean? Because I think that she's searching for something.
Mhm.
She's searching for something. Like she wants to feel like it. She wants to be a good person. She doesn't know what that looks like for her and still being true to herself.
Right.
Um, so there's an opportunity there even for her to like call her out about how much she's conceded to know, which I think her sister repeatedly does, which I love. But and so like there's an opportunity there for it to be a part of the plot and then her really switch like okay no I got to get to know this for myself.
Right.
I've got to figure out do I like this outside of him. So I don't know, I think there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of directions that they could go that I'm excited about.
So the way that Esther is your favorite character, and I do like Esther. I know I've said some things, but like honestly,
Mhm.
I love her.
Mhm.
I think Morgan is my favorite character.
I can see that.
I do.
I can see that. I love
I love
Morgan too.
Morgan. I do. So I
Mhm.
think the next thing that we should talk about in our next episode is let's talk about some of those background characters. Let's dig a little deeper into Esther, Morgan,
Mhm.
Sasha. I think that would make for a great conversation.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Well, we'll see you
All right.
next time, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye.
I'm ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode. 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 for the next episode.